It is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it is Toyota GR Cup North America, the season finale. Coming your way tomorrow, the second to last race here today. This championship has been raging all year long. Weston Workman went on a streak right through the middle of the season to clinch the title, but some of the other points positions are still very much up for grabs. Plus, of course, the chance to win at Indianapolis. It's a strong field of cars ready to roll off and go for the glory at Indianapolis. 60 degrees in the air here on this cool autumn morning, 62 degrees on track, so everyone will be looking for grip here in the early stages of this race. By the way, my name is Ryan Marine. DJ Clark will be with you here shortly, and we'll be hearing from Amanda Busick down on the grids in a matter of moments. So much excitement, though, for this championship, which continues to go from strength to strength. Really strong field of cars with Jackson Bell and Copeland Motorsports starting on pole position. It's Ethan Goulart who will start alongside in second place. Jeremy Fletcher, who has been strong in limited opportunities here this season, he'll start at the inside of the second row. And then Spike Kohlbecker joins Fletcher in that second row of the grid. Just look at this field of cars. Great teams, great drivers, so much excitement coming your way. 45 minutes of racing in just a few moments' time. Getting ready for pre-race festivities. Let's go down to Amanda Busick.
Well, traveling across from Germany for Continental Tire, Micah Schulte with the best words in racing.
Drivers, start your Toyota engines.
DJ, that's the sound we've been waiting to hear. We're ready to go.
Oh, it's the best sound in the world, especially when rolling around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As you said, that was the best way to get things going. We've got a full field of cars here to be able to roll off. It is going to be an interesting race, Ryan, as you already talked about. Championship already decided, but it is certainly one that you are going to want to enjoy and one that you are going to want to win. Racing here at the Yard of Bricks raises the stakes a little bit. Doesn't matter about the championship. You want to be able to kiss the bricks.
Oh, no question. This place has so much history. It opened in 1909, first Indy 500 in 1911, but really since the gates opened on day one, this place was special, and it's only become more so as the years have gone along. The field is starting to roll out onto the track here, and very soon we'll have a chance to go racing for the second to last time of the season. It's happened quickly.
It's crazy to think about, and it's crazy to think that it is the end of our third season for Toyota GR Cup North America. So many great names have come through this series. So many great drivers have been able to stake their claim in Toyota GR Cup cars. It is from Tyler Gonzalez to Gresham Wagner and now Weston Workman, able to etch his name into the history books as one of the champions of this great series. And there you saw on your screen one of our celebrities that shows up here every now and again, and that, of course, being the man of song and story, Rutledge Wood.
Yeah, great to have Rutledge here. Every time I've seen him through the paddock, he's had a huge smile on his face, and why not? A chance to get to race at this great venue, but also one of these awesome cars. And you talk to anyone who's had the chance to drive in this series, immediately they break out in a smile. It's been so much fun since day one.
It has. I mean, these are wonderful little cars, pretty much come right off of the production line to be able to be turned into a race car. But let's go ahead and walk you through the starting grid. As you mentioned earlier, Jackson Bell, one of those championship hopefuls at the beginning of the year, starting in pole position. Ethan Goulart to his outside. Then Jeremy Fletcher coming in, and Spike Kohlbecker starting to his outside, one of the winners of this year. Fifth place, it is your champion, Weston Workman for BSI Racing, and Parker DeLong for Tech Sport, one of the stalwart names in Toyota GR Cup North America. Lucas Weisenberg, a solo car team, in seventh place alongside Will Robusto, who had a great season this year for RBA Graphics Motorsport. Michael Edwards will roll off ninth. Then it's Max Schwein for Tech Sport in 10th. He'll be looking to move up from there. Beltre Curtis starts off in 11th, and then Isabella Robusto will be 11th or 12th rather, in that Triple One machine. Henry Drury making an appearance back in the series for PT Autosport. Next time, Jackson Tovo, Ford Koch, and Ethan Tovo. No, your eyes do not deceive you. Those are the Tovo twins. Then Carl Foreman will be 17th, followed by Peyton Fain in 18th position. Patrick Brunson for Eagles Canyon Racing rolls off 19th. Livio Galante to his outside. We talked about him a little bit earlier. It's Rutledge Wood in 21st. Farron Davis will be starting at 22nd to his outside. BSI Racing's Massimo Sinceri will roll off 23rd. James Klimas, 24th position. It's another Eagles Canyon car in 25th in the form of Jason Coast. Then it's Jeff Curry for Eagles Canyon as well. And another Eagles Canyon car. There's a lot of them out here today. Andrew Gilliland, Ton Rudnine, and Ramon Lano will round out your 29-car grid here at Indianapolis, Ryan.
Yeah, so much to look forward to. Really stout grid. We've got newcomers, but we also have some seasoned veterans. It's been fun watching some really talented drivers jump in mid-season as well and insert themselves into the conversation. The good news for Weston Workman is he can drive without having to think about points here. He got the job done nice and early. What a season he's put together, going from never having won in this series, having been very close on many occasions, all the way to champion before the season is done. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I had a chance to talk to him earlier in the weekend. I said, has your mentality changed now that you've clinched the championship? And he said, no, not really. I still have the same hunger. I still have the same excitement about driving. Nothing has really changed for him. So I expect him to be aggressive. I expect him to try to work his way forward with that calm, cool demeanor that he always seems to have, and knows when to turn on that aggression, knows when to stick the nose down to the inside. It always seems to do it without picking up too much damage on that Endava 13.
Well, that's a big part of the game, isn't it? Making sure you've got a car to race with at the end of these 45-minute races. We've got a special guest to get this race started. It is Velita Keys, the founder of Velita's Hope, a community organization supporting women through every step of the breast cancer journey, from mammograms to survivorship, while also educating on vital health issues. Velita's Hope is partnered this weekend with the 55-car Spike Kohlbecker. Great to have you here. Great cause. Enjoy the opportunity up in maybe the best view that you can find at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway up in the starter stand.
It's a great view. I've never been able to get up there.
Me neither.
Full confession. I got to try to get up there at some point. But yeah, I've got to imagine it's a pretty great view for Velita, and she's going to be able to see this whole flock of GR Cup cars making their way down through turn 14. Jackson Bell leading the field around to green. Ethan Goulart to his outside. It's going to be 2 by 2 as they roll onto the 5/8 of a mile straightaway here at the world-famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's Velita up in the corner of your screen. They enter into the VP acceleration zone. Green flag is in the air. What a great flag wave. That was awesome. That was a great wave there. And it looks like now Goulart starting to take the fight to Jackson Bell. A little bit of a better run. Cars shuffling around in the back. Bell's going to have to be later on the brakes if he wants to avoid an attack here. And it looks like Jeremy Fletcher's going to follow him on through. A little bit of bumping and banging over the curbs, but oh, Goulart off into the grass.
3 wide in the mid-pack, but up at the front, great getaway by the pole sitter Bell. Family, of course, with great lineage here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Father Townsend, a multi-time Indy 500 starter. Fletcher, pretty aggressive there at the beginning, able to muscle his way up into the second spot, and now this is where it gets interesting, funneling down into the chicane.
Yeah, and that was Weston Workman there you saw trying to get the move on Ethan Goulart. Spike Kohlbecker maybe giving a little bit of a shot to the rear bumper of Goulart, giving him a little bit of a hurry up. It's a 2-car breakaway up at the front of the field. Goulart jumps on the binders for third, single file up through fifth, and a good start here for Lucas Weisenberg up to 7th already.
Yeah, really nice jump there for Lucas, putting his car in good position to fight here at the very front, maybe for a podium, maybe for more before it's all said and done. Here through turns 8, 9, and 10, then into the oval portion once again, the south short chute of the oval before ducking back into the infield once more. Side-by-side fight further back in the top 10.
That's Will Robusto and Parker DeLong trying to follow him on through is Isabella Robusto right behind in the 111. That battle's going to continue. That was Will kicking up a little bit of dust. DeLong's going to be able to hold that position over Isabella Robusto. And as we saw last year, a lot of dust kicked up to the inside of turn 13 and 14. That's kind of par for the course here on these GR Cup cars.
Hasn't been much rain in this area over the last week or so that helps to account for some of the excessive dust we've seen here this weekend. At the end of the first lap, though, it's Bell leading by 1/10 of a second over Fletcher, then Goulart, Kohlbecker, and Workman the top 5.
Trying to hold on to the advantage. Mid-pack Still very shuffled up here. A lot of 2x2, almost 3 wide going down into that world-famous turn 1. One car off. That's one of the Tovos that I think is going to be Jackson. Just ran a little bit wide on the entry into turn 1. More dust kicked up. More cars going a little bit wide through 3.
Side-by-side action here. This part of the racetrack, you can cross over your opponent. You can make it work side-by-side, but it narrows up quickly here through the switchback, 5 and 6. Tough to make it work side-by-side, but they managed to do it. This is great stuff, Tovo and Robusto.
Oh, problem here for Rudnai. Looks like he went off down through that turn 1 complex. See maybe just a little bit of grass on the underside of the car, but nothing too bad. And that's going to be the 28th place machine. That's Todd Gilliland with some problems as well. I wonder if there was maybe contact between the two.
Yeah, Andrew Gilliland with the issue there, unfortunately, has dropped back toward the back. We'll have to limp back around, maybe to the attention of the crew at any rate. The racing continues, fast and furious, up at the front of the field, and even in the mid-pack here as well. This is 19th and 20th with Kos and Foreman side by side once again.
And this is one of those kind of sneaking overtaking opportunities we've talked about before, trying to be able to get that move to play. They're still going to be side by side, neither one of them wanting to let it go. Whoa, that's some big smoke coming off from the side there of Jackson Tovo. Almost looks like tire rub from that car.
Yeah, I hoped it was just a lockup, but that's not the case. There is something else at play here. Tons of smoke pouring out of that car. He's also got the windshield wiper going, so I wonder if there could be a little fluid perhaps getting up onto the windscreen. In any event, he continues for now. I'm not sure he could have made it to the pits if he wanted to. There was a freight train lining up alongside him.
And you see the blinker on there in that car from Jackson Tovo, just kind of letting everybody know, hey, I've got a problem, stay off to that side. He's going to pull off into the runoff outside turn 1.
Start under review, as is customary. There also are several incidents at turn 1 under review, according to race control. We'll keep an eye on that as information comes in to us. It's still Bell leading the field, and he's actually been able to leg out the advantage to a whopping quarter of a second over Jeremy Fletcher. Then it's Goulart, Kohlbecker, and Workman still.
Well, in GR Cup terms, that's almost a mile as they continue to run. But looking here, Fletcher, Goulart, really the close battle here is from second back to about 5th position. Fletcher, Goulart, Kohlbecker, and Workman. Bell, it leads the pack as they run. Weisenberg and Robusto trying to hold on to the back. I'm going to keep my eye here on Weston Workman. Spike Kohlbecker right ahead of him in that yellow 55 machine. Again, a little bit of a sneak attack move here. Oh no, it's Kohlbecker going for the move on Ethan Goulart down into turn 12. Doesn't get it done, but that's going to keep Goulart on his toes.
That was an aggressive lunge up and over the curb. It popped the right side of that 55 up into the air, but he was able to corral it. Continues on. Fastest car on the racetrack, though, is the car tucked in right behind. It's the 13 of our champion-elect, Weston Workman, up onto the front straightaway. Turned in a 140.175 on the last lap. That was a few tenths of a second clear of anybody else.
And interestingly there, as we see our race vision powered by AWS, he doesn't actually control a fastest sector time. He's just good all the way around, and we've seen that a few times in different series this year.
That's a really interesting point that you bring up. Doesn't have the overall best sector time anywhere, but when you put it all together, he's the quickest, and I suppose that's really what matters the most. You don't get any award for being the fastest in Sector 1, but an overall best lap, there is some distinction that comes along with that.
Well, and there you see he's only off that first sector time by a couple of hundredths of a second, which would kind of track there if he is able to keep that together. Goulart going to poke his nose to the inside, thinking about making a move on Jeremy Fletcher, and this is one of those heads-up things that we see oftentimes at a track like this where overtaking can be a little bit more difficult if you're in a draft train like this. Poking to one side, Ryan, just trying to see if you can maybe get that driver in front to look in the rearview mirror, break concentration for a half a second.
Doesn't take much, especially when the field is this close. If the door opens up, that could cost you a couple of positions just like that. But that said, those at the front here, they've been in the heat of battle all year long, fighting with one another, and so it's rare you see any kind of significant miscue from this front-running pack.
Yeah, they're all pretty locked in, pretty dialed in. And as we've seen many times over the course of the season, the top 9 here really starting to get a breakaway. I already talked about those top 6, 7, DeLong and Schweid, the other ones that are on that. They're only separated from the leader by about 3 seconds. Jackson Bell kind of sticking to the normal line. Fletcher, the one who goes down to the inside, he's really feeling the pressure here from Ethan Goulart. Goulart looks to what will be the outside of turn 1. He's going to have to be later on the brakes, especially with Jackson Bell in the middle of the track. Little bit of leaning on each other there between Fletcher and Goulart.
Yeah, but if Goulart can hang tough, then the track kind of comes back to him here through this section. That said, the same is true for Fletcher. If he can hang in there through turn 2, then turn 3 and 4 comes back his way. Give the position back to Fletcher in the 22, and now from attacker to attacked, Goulart coming under assault here by Kohlbecker.
Kohlbecker, who now has the fastest lap of the race, going to be side by side with Goulart, and now it's going to be Will Robusto's turn to give a little bit of a shot, Weston Workman's turn to give a little bit of a shot behind Lucas Weisenberg, hoping he's going to be able to get a run there as well. Workman up on through past Kohlbecker, but Kohlbecker's got a nose ahead. Looks like he had to back out of it. Now it's going to be the turn of Lucas Weisenberg, and one of our favorite things in the course of the series, making slight contact there with Weston Workman. That right side mirror for Lucas Weisenberg folded in.
And, well, more aerodynamic now with
Exactly.
that mirror folded in. That was part of the strategy, right? Whoa, that was close, up into the grass, and having to back out of it was Will Robusto there. Drops a couple of spots, but he went for a gap that closed pretty much immediately.
Yeah, and I've got to say that was a little overeager of a move as Weisenberg goes off into the grass there just slightly. That was a door that was always going to close. Coming through turn 11, the door always shuts there.
Some incidents have been reviewed. One penalty to pass along, and that is to car 57. That's Curry, shown in 25th right now. Drive-through penalty, incident responsibility. Another incident was reviewed, no action taken. That would have involved Edwards and one other car, and I've lost that message on my screen now, but doesn't really matter because there was no action taken anyway.
Well, interestingly about it, it was the 31 of Jackson Tovo who we saw retire from the race pretty much, so I think we found the cause of what that tire rub, what that smoke was from, possibly an incident there between the two.
Interesting. Yeah, that could very well be. Good sleuthing there, DJ. Side-by-side fight here. 46 is Weisenberg. 47 is DeLong. Those two swapping positions around once again. But now it's starting to become a 4-car breakaway. Just last lap I was thinking, all right, top 9 have separated themselves, but now it's 2 distinct packs inside that top 9.
Well, and this is the portion of the race that if you're Spike Kohlbecker and Lucas Weisenberg, you've got to focus forward. You can't be focusing on trying to battle, trying to squabble like we see here with DeLong and Robusto. You really have to just focus ahead and try to help each other to get the best laps you can to close in on that top 4. We've seen this play out a couple of times over the course of the season that you'll have a really great scrap that's great for TV and good to watch, but it slows you down and it takes you out of contention for the win.
As some element of cooperation is required sometimes to keep it single file. Don't slow down the entire pack, and that way maybe you could reel back in this top group. The top 3, I think, have designs here on separating themselves and leaving Weston Workman. They're probably sick and tired of him winning these races now that he's starting to break through and clinch that championship early. Bell, Fletcher, and Goulart, I suspect, would love to settle it amongst themselves.
Well, Fletcher looks like he may have a run here on Jackson Bell. Really good speed down the front straightaway. Not seeing him poke his nose to the inside. Meanwhile, Robusto is going to do the same. Here is that battle for the front. And as you said, I think nothing would please Jackson Bell more than being able to pick up a victory here at Indianapolis. His family's history here, he knows this is a special place. I remember a couple years ago, he and his dad taking pictures on the podium as I was sitting in the PA booth. He knows the history of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Well, he stood on the podium here a year ago in race 2. Race 1 did not go according to plan, just an 18th place finish, but that 3rd place helped to solidify 4th in the championship for Jackson Bell last year. Goulart now looking super aggressive. That was a lunge, thinking about making it 3 wide, but ultimately backed in line once more behind Fletcher, who himself was challenging Bell. Bell, though, in firm control of this race, at least at this early stage.
And there you see Race Vision powered by AWS points as they run. This is what Bell needs to do to secure that 2nd place in the championship. His main goal, yes, we talked about it, he wants to win. You want to kiss the bricks, but he needs to finish ahead of Ethan Goulart to maintain and lock down that 2nd place. And right now, he's doing exactly what he needs.
Yes, it was a pretty tight margin coming in here, wasn't it, between the two of them? Just 15 points separating them, and with 50 points total on offer between the 2 races, it was not out of the realm of possibility for that position to change hands. And actually, You have to factor in Weisenberg and Kohlbecker, too. They were also in with a shout of second place if things broke their way here this weekend, but Bell doing everything in his control right now by leading this race to try and solidify the runner-up points position.
And what he is seeing right now behind him is music to his eyes, is he's going to see a battle taking place between Jeremy Fletcher and Ethan Goulart. That kind of battle lets Bell stretch his legs up into the front of the field, gain a little bit of an advantage, and crucially buy him some breathing room where he can just relax and settle in even more.
Kohlbecker has taken the fastest lap of the race away now. He's the first to dip into the 139s. That is a really quick lap here in race conditions. He's dropped another spot, though. He's back behind Workman at the moment, shown in 5th on timing and scoring. It's Bell leading Fletcher. It was a half a second at last check. Then just behind is Goulart, and a spin here for the 80 of Fayen.
Yeah, and that looks like it's in that first sector complex, just coming through turn 3. See a little bit of a donut there maybe on the left side of the car. That's actually out of turn 4, excuse me. Peyton will be able to get back and get running. We're going to take a look at a replay at exactly what happened there. You see the Nitro Motorsports white machine in back. Dives down to the inside, just a little bit of contact there with Isabella Robusto.
Robusto's got some damage as well. Looked like the hood was popped up on that car. That might explain why she's dropped down the order, currently shown in 17. Schweid and DeLong now scrapping it out. Schweid in 98, DeLong in 47. Lots of dust to drive through, but that doesn't slow these guys down much, does it? They can just keep that throttle mashed to the floor.
No, these cars, no racing car wants to be able to go off and drive on the dirt, but at the same time, they handle it pretty well, all things considered. Parker DeLong, though, he's been a real revelation coming into the series, despite Kohlbecker takes a look onto the back of Weston Workman. But to the point of DeLong, really came alive and unavailed himself with aplomb early on in the season.
Well, he turned up for the first time at Road America, didn't he? And scored a 5th place on debut, ran at the front of the field through a good chunk of that. Didn't have race 2 go according to plan, but followed it up just to prove it wasn't a fluke by running 6th in both races at Barber Motorsports Park. Comes from a Trans Am background, TA2, big, powerful tube frame cars that if you make a mistake, you've got some power to try and compensate for it. A little less so here in GR Cup. It's all about momentum, and mistakes are punished.
Yeah, very much so. It's why this is one of the sort of training rungs that go forward, and it's why it establishes good habits in racing. And it's one of the reasons why you see the 2 champions of this series, Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner, moving their way up and being so successful in GT4.
Yeah, really cool that we've seen the last 2 champions of this series running together this year in GT4 America, and they've run toward the front as well with great regularity. It goes to show what a good training ground this is here in Toyota GR Cup, and it also speaks to the level of investment that Toyota has in road racing these days, where they are trying to develop a pipeline of talent to bring them through the single-make series into GT4, and then we know Toyota and/or Lexus has something new coming in the GT3 ranks in the years to come as well.
Yeah, so it's a very exciting time to be a fan of Toyota all the way through. Here comes Jeremy Fletcher, again taking that look on Jackson Bell. Ethan Goulart going to try to take advantage of that. Not quite able to get it all the way. No, he is going to be able to hang coming through turn 3. Turn 4 will favor him. This could be a nice little advantage for Ethan Goulart. He's going to get the position. Weston Workman trying to poke his nose in there as well. A little bit unfortunate there for Jeremy Fletcher. I think that was a move that maybe was a little misjudged, and he lost out as a result of it.
Well, definitely lost the position, so that would indicate that your analysis is probably spot on. Goulart, though, knows he's got to go. Remember, we talked about that second place in the championship. He really needs to finish ahead of Jackson Bell to help his cause and try and reel that position in. It's a big swing in points, first to second, 25 versus 18. So if those positions were to swap, that's effectively a 14-point swing in the fight for second place.
Yeah, and for Goulart, that'll really close the gap down and make things very, very close. Ryan, you're doing the math here of what that could potentially be.
Well, it's 12 points as they run, and it would swap around significantly, right, if Goulart were able to make that pass. So we'll see what ultimately comes of that. He knows what the target is, but the target is getting smaller in the distance.
Yeah, it's starting to head off into the distance, and now with 28 minutes left on the clock, we are starting to encounter a little bit of lapped traffic, and that is going to be as they pass by right now. Nice sportsmanship, staying out of the way there of these leaders. Bell leading from Goulart, from Fletcher, from Workman, from Kohlbecker. That is the breakaway. The battling we were following earlier from about 6th on back has really caused this top 5 to just be in an island unto themselves.
Yeah, that's been beneficial for them. They can now feel like, barring a safety car intervention, they can settle it amongst themselves here at the front of the field. The lead is half a second. Bell, Goulart, Fletcher there in the 3rd spot. Workman quietly lurking in 4th place, and then Kohlbecker hanging tough as well in the yellow 55. But this is a Weston Workman-like performance here, isn't it?
I was about to say, how often have we seen this? Just kind of lurking in the background, biding his time, saving what rubber you can on those Continental tires so that when we come into the last 5-10 minutes of this race, he is absolutely able to push that number 13 Endava machine to the limit. This is the kind of thing we've come to expect from Weston. He is a very cerebral driver. He thinks 4 or 5 steps ahead.
He certainly does. I mean, that's what has allowed him to be in this position. You talked about it off the top. What a great job he's done of keeping the nose clean, making sure he's got a weapon to fight with late in these races, and it's paid off in a big way with 5 wins on the season, which is, again, remarkable because as many podiums as he had, and he had 11 last year alone in Toyota GR Cup, he had never won a race until we got to Sebring in the 5th and 6th races of the season this year. But since he got that breakthrough, there's been no stopping Weston Workman, which has allowed him to clinch the title early.
Yeah, clinch the title early, and we've seen a couple of times this title come down to the line, and we all really looked ahead this year as saying, oh, contact Jackson Bell hard into the wall.
Oh, that was off the nose of Goulart as well, so there's some implications in that, but the first thing we need to be concerned about is Jackson Bell, heavy front end contact into the outside retaining wall that brings out a full course yellow immediately.
I'm not surprised by that good heads up there from race control, recognizing that situation, throwing the full course yellow. Right, there is Jackson Bell. I do see some movement in the car there, so that's good.
Oh, that's a relief. That was not a small impact. Let's look at this again. Bell, the lead car here. It's been really close between the two of them, and one zigged when the other zagged.
Yeah, it just looked like miscommunication there between Ethan Goulart and Jackson Bell. Contact there, spun into the outside wall, and that heavy impact from Jackson. Full course yellow. This is really going to change things around in the complexion of this race, not only because of the impact in the points championship with Jackson now getting ostensibly a DNF, but, and there he is taking a look at the car. Oh, you can just sense the disappointment from the young Californian.
You got to wonder as well about what this means for tomorrow in the season finale. That is a lot of damage that needs to be repaired. Yikes, not what you wanted to see.
Not at all what he was hoping for today. This cleanup probably will take a couple of minutes, as I did see some fluid get laid down, so maybe some of that speedy dry that the track workers here at IMS are going to take care of. But in terms of resetting this race, Goulart is in the lead right now. The incident at turn 1 is under review, so we'll get back to you on that. But this pack that we saw spreading out a little bit is now bunched back up, and I think the biggest winner out of that is a driver who won from the downbeat this year. That's Will Robusto.
Yeah, that brings him into the mix, and that car has been quick. I mean, he's done lap times within tenths of the front runners, and now he's right back up in that conversation once again, thanks to this safety car. It's got Schweid and Weisenberg there. DeLong, I wouldn't rule him out, and Tovo in 9th. How about Henry Drury? We haven't told that story yet, but back in the championship for the first time this year with the PT Autosport with Copeland operation once again. He was the scholarship winner for PT Autosport previously and gets the chance here to get the call up and reprise his role with the team, running a solid 10th.
And he was really happy about it. I had a chance to talk to him earlier in the week, said, I had to learn how to drive again to a large degree. Henry spent most of this year doing a lot of coaching, trying to be able to jump in cars when he can, but it really and truly was a dream come true for him to be back in the series. As we take a look at the live points there, you can see Goulart now with that swing taking a 10-point advantage over Jackson Bell. So just one little thing like that, and it changes everything around, Ryan.
And it can change again depending on the ruling. Again, race control reviewing that incident right now, and that's a tough one to try and adjudicate. So we'll let them handle all of that. But again, we talked about the fact that in that battle for second in the points, I mean, it's not just the two that were within striking distance. Weisenberg and Kohlbecker also stand to benefit because Jackson will not be scoring points here today, and it's to be determined what the points haul looks like for Goulart. One more look at it.
Yeah, and I think you really hit the nail on the head, Ryan, when you said one zigged while the other one zagged. It was very clear that Jackson was moving kind of back onto the traditional racing line to move his way back, as he is entitled to do. Ethan was thinking maybe coming down to the inside there a little bit. Okay, looks like incident involving cars 7 and 72 will be reviewed post-race.
Well, that tells me that the stewards would like to see some onboard footage, maybe have a chance to look at telemetry, talk to the drivers as well before they make any ruling. When you consider the significance of this and the prize money that's available for finishing second in the championship, this has the potential to have a big implication there. We know it does for Jackson Bell. We don't know yet what the implication will be for Goulart, but I think it's prudent to make sure you have all the data before handing down a ruling that could have the potential to have pretty wide sweeping significance in the championship and then everything that comes along with that.
Yeah, and I think that significance, that importance is not lost on race control. And as you said, that's exactly why they're taking their time. Looks like Henry Drury, we were talking about him a little bit earlier, has a little piece, that side skirt that we see on the side of the car. Looks like that's kind of ripped up, kind of dragging onto the pavement there. Shouldn't affect him too much. We see that quite often. Side-to-side contact in these cars can allow that to happen. Henry probably weaving a little bit there, trying to get it to actually fall off. There you can see him right in the center of your screen, that black and day glow machine.
Well, Drury, again, we were starting to tell the story a little bit. He was the Rookie of the Year last year, finished 7th in the championship. This is for someone who came to racing really quite late in life, relatively speaking. You know, these days most kids get started in karts when they're 5, 6, 7 years old, but Drury actually had another athletic career underway. He was a very competitive figure skater with Olympic dreams that went away when he suffered a pretty significant back injury.
Yeah, and really kind of broke his heart a little bit, but Henry, being the stick-to-itiveness kind of guy that he is, the driver from the UK, made the decision to switch over to racing, got involved with PT Autosport. As you said, they put together that shootout for young drivers that wouldn't normally have an opportunity to go racing. He was able to win it, get the scholarship for last year, and put in a full season, and a well-deserved Rookie of the Year. He really impressed a lot of us in the paddock.
Yeah, interestingly, he won that scholarship in 2022, but couldn't make use of it until last year because he actually had to have several of the discs in his spine replaced as a consequence of the injuries sustained in his figure skating career. So he sat out a considerable amount of time, then jumped into the race car last year and won the Rookie of the Year. This year, haven't seen him in a race car here, although he has been coaching, but he's been busy doing some other single make racing. He's also done some races over at the Nürburgring and NLS. One of his co-drivers there, interestingly enough, was Alex Sedgwick, also associated with PT Autosport, and we'll be seeing Alex in the Indy 8 Hour later on today.
Yeah, excited to see him, and excited that PT Autosport is really put together this program to bring drivers to the fore and to give them those opportunities. Any type of scholarship that you are able to give in these sort of situations to give drivers the chance, a bite at the apple, if you will, is always appreciated, and it is always welcome. There's a look at that number 7 Copeland Motorsport machine.
That's a sad sight.
Yeah.
Don't want to see that.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested. That's a story I'm going to be following up on today, Ryan, to see if they are able to get that turned around, if they have a backup car potentially for Jackson. With the championship implications, I've got to think they are going to scramble and do everything they can.
I would think so, too. Now, this is unscheduled, to say the least. Peyton Fayen is in the pit lane, and don't rightly know why that would be.
It appears she's dead stick, I think. I mean, very, very slow. Almost looks like there is no power to that car. Let's see if we can get an answer on that. Nitro Motorsports driver obviously involved in that spin a little bit earlier. Didn't see any significant damage from it, so not sure what's going on with that Nitro machine.
Wrapping up her first season in Toyota GR Cup, supported by Shift Up Now, great initiative that helps to promote female involvement in motorsports across the board. Drivers get a lot of the attention, but that's not all that it's about. And, Peyton has seen an uptick in performance in the second half of the season, but something appears to be amiss here today. Fans already flocking to the viewing mounds. It's a busy, busy day of racing. It started early, and it will continue on late into the night with the Indy 8-hour Indy's only night race.
Yeah, it's about a full 12 hours worth of racing. Looks like that safety car has peeled off. I think we're getting ready to go back to racing here, Ryan. Ethan Goulart going to bring this field around to green. Again, the incident between Goulart and Bell will be reviewed post-race. So we will keep you abreast of what that is, but for right now, Goulart's got one objective and one only, and that is get to the front and stay at the front.
Has to be tough, though, to put that behind you and not think about the looming post-race investigation, but you're right now, he can't control any of that. All he can do is try and win this race and then hope that the ruling goes in his favor. But if he's going to do so, he has to hold off Jeremy Fletcher, the champion-elect Weston Workman, Spike Kolbecker, Will Robusto, and more. That's the top 5 as racing resumes. Just under 17 minutes to go.
Pretty spread out here through about the first 4. Nice gap starting to form. I see some movement there in the back. That's one of the Tovos diving down to the inside. I think that's Ethan trying to get a little bit of a run. It's not going to play out. He's going to have to fall back in line side by side with Henry Drury right now. And they're going to kick up a little bit of dirt as they come through turn 3. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Goulart, Fletcher, Workman, Kolbecker, Drury getting shuffled out there. Ford Koch able to make the move on it.
Yeah, good to see from Ford Koch. Looking awfully strong once again, charging up through this field side by side here with Drury. This is for the final spot inside the top 10, final points paying position as well. At the front, Goulart going defensive here. Here comes Fletcher looking to make his way around.
If Fletcher can hold this around the outside, the track will come back to favor him through turn 8, and that's exactly what happens. Goulart looks for a little bit of a crossover, but it doesn't play. Jeremy Fletcher for Copeland Motorsports back up and into the front of the field.
Has not won yet in Toyota GR Cup, but he's been close. 2 runner-up results at Barber. Fletcher briefly had the lead, but not for long. Goulart shoved back to the front, off the nose of Weston Workman.
Workman gave him that shove, and now that's going to be Fletcher trying to challenge on Workman down into turn 12. They get into each other. Workman forced off into the grass spike. Kolbecker thought about trying to make a move there. He's now going to pressure to the outside, will become the inside through turn 14. Fletcher still holds on to P2, and Goulart scampering off into the distance.
Workman was hung out to dry, but did find a spot to settle back in line. Does so behind Kolbecker, but dropped a couple of positions. Goulart's lead is 0.6 of a second. Fletcher trying to run him back down. Kolbecker giving him a push. Battle breaking out further back, though, inside the top 10.
Everybody trying to scrap for these positions, and it's important to note you are allowed to give that little bit of a bump. You just cannot lock fenders. That is the rule that has been laid down here in Toyota GR Cup North America. All right, here they go. Single file. Robusto starting to close in on the back of Workman now. Slip and slide there for Max Schweid in the 47 of Parker DeLong trying to take advantage of it.
Oh, so close between the two of them. There might have been a little paint traded there through the chicane, but they come out on the other side. DeLong might have lost a tad bit of momentum himself. Ethan Tovo now looking a bit aggressive. In the meantime, Fletcher has caught Goulart, and just like that has powered back to the lead.
He looks very strong through this second sector. That's kind of the same place he made that move last time around. Really able to get a good run. The question's going to be is if Goulart's able to get anything to play here. They come out of turn 10 through 11, getting ready for the braking zone of turn 12. Drury still dragging that a little bit. That's Ethan Tovo right there. Ford Koch behind him. Koch going to try to go the long way around turn 12. Thinks better of it, slots back into line.
Yeah, that avenue was closed off quickly, so he had no choice but to settle in single file. That was a late lunge up the inside from Robusto, and he does get the spot away from Weston Workman. That is for 4th place. in this race. Fletcher starting to stretch his legs now at the front. He clinched another single make championship just a week ago. Looking to cap off his racing season here with a victory at the Brickyard.
And there is a penalty being issued for car number 8. That is Tom Rudney. Pass under yellow. It's a drive-through penalty. Rudney back down in 23rd, so he will have to come through the pits.
Frustration there. There was, I think, a little bit of confusion with how quickly that full course yellow came out, and I know that there was some work done to try and get the order correct at the front of the field. I suspect that was true a little bit further back as well, but doesn't seem like Tom was quite in the right spot, so that drive-through penalty drops him out of contention for a spot inside the top 20.
Yep, and that's a hard break for him, but up at the front of the field, as you said, Fletcher, 0.5 of a second up in front. Defensive line from Will Robusto, 4th in line behind Weston Workman. Meanwhile, here comes a side-by-side battle. That's Parker DeLong trying to take the fight here to Lucas Weisenberg. Weisenberg shuts the door.
Wow, that was authoritative, wasn't it? Not happening here, not now. Weisenberg hangs on to the spot through the 8, 9, 10 complex. Here is Goulart coming under threat now. Car 72, the white machine, with the yellow car of Kohlbecker looking to the inside, and Spike slots on through. He'll take the second spot away.
Robusto tried to follow him on through. I think he might have a little bit of momentum to get it through turn 13, but there you see Goulart able to shut the door on him. So now it's Kohlbecker who has been tasked with trying to chase down Jeremy Fletcher, who is now 1.1 seconds down the road. This is going to be a tall order here with only 11, call it just under 12 minutes left to go in this race, but we know Spike Kohlbecker can be up for it.
I certainly do. He's got the fastest lap of the race. Remember, a 1:39.748. That's nearly 4/10 quicker than anything Fletcher has done to this point. Kohlbecker, though, has to play defense right now as Goulart is trying to get the spot back. None too pleased with dropping a couple of positions on the last few laps, but can't get the move made, and Kohlbecker has jetted away.
Workman trying to get a move here on Robusto, sending it around the outside of turn 4. And there's Rutledge Wood, a scene from a movie, passing through the dirt and the dust there. Beautiful, beautiful scene. Ran pretty good here in 22nd position. Rutledge has really looked, I think, more comfortable in the car this weekend than we've seen him up to this point.
Well, it helps he's been here. He's done quite a bit of this here this year, and that helps to keep you in your rhythm, getting some good coaching as well from the likes of Ryan Eversley. And looking at his lap times, I mean, he's right there with the group from 10th on back, so doing a really nice job, as you say.
Ford Koch, Ethan Tovo, side by side. A little bit of Noah's Ark action as, ooh, there goes Goulart sliding off into the distance. Goulart is falling like a stone here, having been in second only mere laps ago. He's now all the way back down out of the top 10.
I've seen a little bit of smoke, I thought, and now I definitely did, out of the left front of that car. Maybe under braking, something to look at for Goulart. Well, it's the right front here. And I wonder if that is residual from the contact that is under review. Remember, it was this car and Jackson Bell that got together that caused the full course yellow, and I wonder if some of that contact then has caused some damage to Goulart's car as well.
Well, it's heartbreak there for your two contenders for that second place position. That's really going to change things around and pretty much keep that second place exactly as we saw it, because I don't see Goulart making it back out onto track. Battle that we watch right now, that's Henry Drury and the number 5 machine of Beltre Curtis. Drury trying to hold him off. This is the battle for 11th position. Isabella Robusto and Livio Galante behind as well.
What this would do in that points battle, if my math is correct, it would, with second and third place not figuring to score points today, and Weisenberg and Kohlbecker running in the top 5 as they run, 2nd through 5th would be separated by just 11 points.
That's pretty remarkable coming into tomorrow, where we are going to have a fantastic battle then for P2. Max Schweid, Parker DeLong. Schweid able to get the advantage here for Tech Sport Racing. Nice little move there, kicked it off into the grass on the exit of 7.
Let me amend that, it would be 15 points.
Still close.
But yes, exactly, still within striking distance, and with a field this deep, if you have a bad day and finish outside of the top 10, don't score any points, then you can lose a lot of ground, as we're seeing here. As they run, Goulart would actually drop to 5th in points.
Wow. I think that is just a testament to the competition level that we have here in Toyota GR Cup North America, that just one DNF can affect you that massively.
Well, yeah, the point structure is such that if you are not scoring, top 5 points at least, and your rivals are, then you definitely lose a lot of ground. This championship, it rewards victory most of all. 25 points for the win, just 18 for second, and then it starts to drop off precipitously from there. And you know what? It's been a pretty successful point system used almost universally, globally, in a lot of road racing, and for good reason. I think it rewards the right things. Goulart is back out on track, but we still see some of that smoke.
Yeah, it still appears to be coming off the car there. Great shot there. You can really see it on the left-hand side of the driver's left-hand side of the car. Just seems like it's sort of wisping away. And that's your leaders right there behind, so Goulart actually runs the risk here of going a lap down.
Yeah, that would basically be game over. At this stage, there's probably not enough time to recover, even if there was a safety car to help him catch up to the back of the train. It would have to be a really brief intervention. So this does not look like it's going to be a good day, and that's even before any potential penalties that could come. Don't know for sure if that's the direction that it's headed, but there is the possibility with that incident from earlier in the race still pending review after the race.
Battle for third place right now, Will Robusto, Weston Workman. Workman about 0.4 of a second behind. Lucas Weisenberg not out of that conversation either. Despite Kohlbecker has gotten the gap down to under a second to the lead with 7 minutes left to go. I don't know how much time he's going to have to close it, but we keep our eyes fixed here because this is the closest percolating battle between Robusto and Workman. And again, this is one of those situations where I would not be surprised if we see a last lap move from Weston Workman, having thought, having calculated, and having put everything together.
No, it's a chance to stand on the podium here at Indianapolis, and you think that is going to mean a lot to these drivers regardless of the rest of the equation here. But for Robusto in particular, I mean, he's had a couple of wins this year, but only 3 podium finishes. He's had strong pace, hasn't had the consistent results, which is why he's down in 6th in points coming into this weekend. This would be a big deal for him if he were able to hang on.
Yeah, and it's really been a lot of bad luck for him. A lot of those non-points finishes have been sort of DNFs on the day, contact or some self-inflicted where he's gotten himself a penalty or something of that nature. But he certainly, as you said, Ryan, has the pace, has the tenacity to be able to do this. It's just a matter of putting together that perfect season and that perfect weekend.
And I only have the ability to calculate the top 5 in points, but he's 6th, and I think he's only a point or so further behind Kohlbecker coming in. So it could actually be an even tighter bit of congestion there. 2nd, maybe to 6th, that could all be swapping the positions around on the final day of the season.
Car 22 has been given. That's Jeremy Fletcher. Incident responsibility, a 5-second post-race penalty.
Well, that changes things up dramatically. Then right now, Kohlbecker doesn't even have to try and make the pass. He's running perfectly close enough to inherit the lead on adjusted time, so that RVA graphics team will want to make sure he is well aware of that. Looks like Robusto would be within range. Workman would be within range. Weisenberg would be within range. So this could be crucial and really a disappointment here for Fletcher, the way that they're running.
Yeah, I think the way they run, this would put him roughly back into 5th place position. Doesn't look like that battle is going anywhere. Kohlbecker actually starting to attack here a little bit on Fletcher. As you were saying, you tell a racer not to race, you might as well tell water not to be wet. Spike wants this win outright.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. But I hope he thinks big picture here and doesn't take any undue risk. All we know is that the penalty was issued and that it was for incident responsibility. I don't know what incident it was. I'm not sure we saw it.
I'm not sure either. That really kind of came as a surprise to me, to be completely honest. But Kohlbecker on the attack. He's pushing ahead. And he's going to keep going. He's going to look down to what will be the outside of turn 8, looking for the crossover through 9. Has to fall back just a little bit. Now he's going to take a wider arc into turn 10.
What I can tell you is that there was an incident that was under review 3 minutes ago, and it also involved Workman. It was Fletcher and Workman. So I'm not sure that we saw it, but those were the 2 cars involved, and the 5-second penalty is what's been handed down.
Well, this vastly changes the complexion of the race. Is now Parker DeLong, courtesy of this fight for Spike Kohlbecker, what this has done is this has reduced the gap Jeremy Fletcher had on the rest of the field. And so now if the race were to end on this lap, he would effectively be finishing in 7th as opposed to 5th with those gaps. And I don't think Kohlbecker's done. I genuinely think Spike wants to win this race on outright pace.
Well, it looks that way. He took a peek to the outside. Now, looking really aggressive with a lunge to the inside. Fletcher gives him a wide berth there, and the 2-2 make it through, but the fact that they're side by side here, that has brought this other pack into the mix now too.
Yeah, welcome to the battle, Will Robusto. Welcome to the battle, Weston Workman. Kohlbecker does get the move done for the moment. Fletcher has to give up the ghost not only on Workman, but on Robusto, or not only on Kohlbecker, but on Robusto as well. And they're going to come back in here. We think we do have a shot of exactly what the penalty was.
Fletcher got up on the curb, definitely did hip check Workman off track, and that cost Weston some momentum perhaps.
Okay.
This is usually pretty no holds barred contact style racing, so yeah, interesting to say the least.
Very interesting. But as we focus back here, 2 minutes left to go. Roughly by my calculation, I think we're going to be probably 1 lap to go at the line is going to be my guess. Maybe a very tight 2. We'll have to see. Kohlbecker leads from Robusto. Fletcher trying to hold on to the best of his abilities as they come through turn 13.
Yeah, we'll find out pretty soon. They're running lap times in the 1:40 range. And again, you do not have to see a white flag. So if time were to expire the next time around, it could be that we'd see the checker flag even if we don't see a white. I do think there will be enough time to do a couple of laps.
Yep.
So we'll see, though. It really depends on the pace here of the leaders on this next lap.
Yeah, if Spike, for whatever reason, slows down a little bit, tries to buy himself some time or something, we've seen that happen in a couple series across the world a few times, that you try to back off a little bit on that last lap to ensure that you get the white flag. But Kohlbecker right now, I think, is going to be full gung-ho. He doesn't want to lift off. He knows he's got a very hungry Robusto behind him.
As much as he'd love to manage it and just make sure the clock expires before he gets to the Art of Bricks, there's no way he could be thinking about that right now. The pressure is there in the form of Robusto, in the form of Fletcher, Workman, Weisenberg, the top 5. It's really a 3-car breakaway, though, at the front of the pack, and Fletcher takes a lunge to the inside for second.
Big move down to the inside. He's going to force Robusto a little bit off into the grass. Robusto not able to get his nose coming through turn 8. He's going to fall back into line, and that momentum shift has allowed for Weston Workman to get back up involved in this conversation. He may have a run on Robusto before all is said and done.
Well, Fletcher certainly hopes there's one more lap to go, because that would then allow him to maybe leg out this advantage a little bit and perhaps mitigate some of the loss of position with that 5-second time penalty coming his way. It's going to be really close at the line, DJ. We'll see which flag Tom Hansing has in hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a situation where all eyes really will be looking towards the flag stand here. There's your top 5. That is Workman right there, and that is Weisenberg. Here comes Kohlbecker onto that 5/8 of a mile start-finish straightaway, looking for the flag. And I'm not seeing a flag being displayed. Our timing and scoring says checkers.
Well, we'll see what happens. I think they're still racing for the moment, but as it stands, it would be Kohlbecker. Now the official word, there is 1 lap to go.
Right,
there must have been
white flag.
1 second on the clock as they cross the Yard of Bricks. Amazing.
Apologies for the silence there. We were both just a little bit confused as to what was going on, but we were able to recover it. We do keep racing for 1 more lap. Weisenberg looking ahead. Here is Weisenberg and Workman trying to work on the back of Robusto. This the battle for the final podium position. No, excuse me, with the penalty being issued to Jeremy Fletcher, it will be Robusto and Workman on the podium.
As they run, but again, there are a couple hungry drivers lined up behind waiting for the chance to pounce if they can get into the conversation. Really curious what Fletcher elects to do here on this final lap. Does he risk losing some time by trying to make a pass? I think he will. Fletcher throws it to the inside. Kohlbecker needs to know there's a penalty coming to that car. Don't take any risk here. Don't fight it. Just hang on because the win is his as long as he sees the yard of bricks.
Side by side through turn 11, they get into the braking zone for turn 12. It's going to be an advantage Jeremy Fletcher. Fletcher gets ahead. Kohlbecker doing exactly what you had kind of talked about there, Ryan, making sure he keeps it together. Kohlbecker not able to get the crossover, but this could give a little bit of a run here to Will Robusto. They're single file as they work their way out of turn 14 for the final time. Robusto almost close enough to give a touch to Spike Kohlbecker. Jeremy Fletcher up in the front of the field, but a 5-second penalty being issued. They come to the dash to the yard of bricks. Checkered flag in the air. Fletcher will cross the line first, but it's Kohlbecker that will take victory, followed by Robusto, Workman, and Weisenberg.
How about that? Workman back on the podium once again, and how costly is 5 seconds in Toyota GR Cup? All the way down to 8th for Jeremy Fletcher.
My goodness gracious, but a great win on the day here for Spike Kohlbecker. Always fought for it, always had to be, really scrapping it out. You know, he didn't take his first win this season until Road America. I was lucky enough to be able to interview him on the podium, and he said, you know, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time, and I think it's just a matter of time until we continue to see this young driver win again and again.
Native of St. Louis, Missouri, not too terribly far from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a few hours west of here down I-70. Great result for Spike, who was on the podium here, started on pole in race 2 last year, finished second in that race, now goes one step higher and takes victory on adjusted time with that penalty to Fletcher. Again, I'm not sure he needed to fight him so hard, to be entirely honest with you, but it ended up working out, and he does take the victory.
Yeah, and this is going to feel good. I mean, he took a real leap of faith this year. He'd run with some various teams in the past and really and truly some big names in the sport. And to make this jump over to RVA Graphics Motorsport by Speed Syndicate, it's bearing fruit, and it's really good to see for Spike Kohlbecker, and to get a 1-2 from Will Robusto and Spike Kohlbecker is very impressive.
Provisionally, Kohlbecker would jump to 3rd in points, just 4 points behind Jackson Bell for 2nd now. 1 point behind Kohlbecker, it would be Weisenberg, and then Goulart would drop to 5th place by my calculations, but there's a chance that Robusto might have displaced him as well. Haven't quite accounted for that.
As we take a look at the final finishing order here, we said that 1-2 for RVA Graphics Motorsport. Workman in 3rd, then Weisenberg and Schweid. The long, great run here for Ethan Tovo. Another top 10. Those young twins really showing their muscle here. Fletcher demoted all the way down. We continue to look back through the order. Good run for Rutledge Wood at top 20. He'll be pretty happy with that. Isabella Robusto in 14th as well. Livio Galante in 13th. And really impressive stuff from the rest of this field. Peyton Fane wasn't able to recover, or was not able to recover. We saw her stop down into pit lane, and you saw those drivers that did run a little bit of a foul here. Kohlbecker waiting in line, but he will pull that very bright number 55 down into the world-famous victory lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And that is going to be a great feeling for a young driver like Spike.
Yeah, certainly is. Well-deserved. That was hard fought. You know, he was really smart with his race, I think, kept the powder dry and made sure he had something to fight with late in the going. Again, got his elbows out there at a fight that didn't necessarily need to be fought late in the going, but give him credit. He brought the car home and gets to park it in some of the most coveted real estate in all of auto racing, certainly in North America, I'd argue anywhere on the planet. Victory lane at Indianapolis.
And as we take a look here at Spike getting ready to get out of the car, I've got to imagine the minute that window net comes down, you're going to be able to see the smile from underneath that helmet. This is going to be a special day for Kohlbecker. Hashtag STL made on the side, as you mentioned, a native of St. Louis. Spike gets out of the car, pats on the back. Just an incredible drive. Giving a big heads up there to his sponsor, Vanguard Engines. They had come out to a couple of races this year. Always good to see crews like that coming in and helping out where they are. Helmet coming off here. We'll be able to talk with him momentarily, I believe.
Did want to quickly say I did a little bit of brief math here, and I do think Will Robusto has also jumped into the top 5 now by virtue of the second place finish today, and there are 5 drivers fighting for second going into tomorrow.
And we'll head down to Amanda Busick as the Continental Tire caps go on. A great win for Spike Kohlbecker.
And you saw that Continental cuff go around the neck of Spike Kohlbecker by Stephanie Ahaya joining us from Continental Tire. And Spike, I've already talked to your dad and your grandmother that's over there as you take in this win. And there's just something that you've figured out about Indianapolis as you get yet another win here, but your second win on the season. What have you figured out about Indy, though?
Just a great car and developed a great setup. And I believe that's 6 podiums and 8 races that we've had here. So I'm just on the moon and super happy, and again in supporting breast cancer awareness this month, and Valita's Hope. So it's just great to have that on the car and to race for that, and to race for my team, to race for RVA, and all my friends back at home. So thank you.
Congratulations to Spike, DJ. You can see how much it means to the young gun looking ahead for his racing career.
Very, very much a well-deserved result, and you can tell he getting a little choked up there. All right, proving your championship math there. Workman, Bell, Kohlbecker, Weisenberg, and Robusto, your top 5. It is good that Jackson Bell has been able to maintain it. Ryan, let's go back. Let's take a look at what happened here today during the course of an absolutely crazy race. One of the best green flags we've seen in a long time, given by Valeta. There, the run down into turn 1, we got through cleanly, but it didn't stay clean throughout the rest of the race. Peyton Fane, one of the first drivers to find themselves facing the wrong way. A spin there, little bit of contact there with Jeremy Fletcher and your leaders. As we came around, of course, a big incident that we had with Jackson Bell, really changing the nature of this race. But up until that point, everything was clean. Here is that incident. Bell hard into the wall, bringing out a full course caution and changing the complexion of this battle for P2 in the championship. Contact for Jeremy Fletcher and Weston Workman, giving Fletcher a 5-second penalty, bringing it all around on the back end of the field. It was Spike Kohlbecker, though, that was able to capitalize, still having to fight for it as they went. There you saw Henry Drury working his way forward. Battles farther back in the field, Ethan Lart having a problem that we weren't really quite able to diagnose. But then there it was, big moves. Jeremy Fletcher going back by Will Robusto. Kohlbecker holding on to the lead of the race, but it wasn't easy. Fletcher had to go out and fight for it. Great runs all the way around. On behalf of Ryan Marine, on behalf of DJ Clark, thank you so much for joining us.